our next session, which is the AI Profits Accelerator Mastermind. I'll be bringing up some of the members of our mastermind today for this session over the next hour. It's going to be relaxed, it's going to be laid back, and we're just going to be sharing some wins that we have found in our respective worlds of AI over the past more than a week now that we're talking about the summit, maybe some wins from more recent wins and that of things that you're proud that you've accomplished over the years. But use this hour to take some inspiration from those that are actively using AI in their business, sharing some insights and maybe some perspective that you could take and use for yourself if you find it useful, and have just mini segments with each member of our mastermind. Again, we do meet weekly. This mastermind is not currently open for applications, but it is something that I wanted to highlight because this is the hour that we meet each week to bring the different members on here. Some of them you've already recognized that have spoken live or in the summit, or they have had their own AI hack session. So we got Chris Lannon, Bruce Fleck, Tyrese. I would say, is it Nizwander?
Nice.
Nice Wander. Okay, I
Because
always like
I'm
don't
nice.
say your last name. Nice Wander. There we go.
I'm nice. That's why.
All right, we'll see. This group fluctuates between 5 to 10 or so that attend each week. Let me see if Robin is here as well.
Yeah, we can't have
Sure.
a meeting without Robin. He's our tools researcher guy.
So he shared an 80-page document with me today from all of his research from the week that he
Oh,
said is ours to share with members of the summit. And I've actually got that handy. I would
oh,
love for
okay.
Robin to be somebody. I would love for Robin to be the one that actually introduces that document he put together. So I won't share that
Nice.
just yet, but yeah, I'll keep an eye and see if anyone pops in else from it. But let's just go ahead and kick things off. This is the AI Profits Accelerator. We come and share ways that we are leveraging AI in our businesses to whether it's saving time or making more money or making a difference and an impact in the world. Here to share some wins for the week, some updates and insights, and then we'll open the floor for panel discussion and we'll take things from there. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I want to say thank you to you again, Darby, for this incredible summit. My win was actually getting my hackathon video up I recorded it last week so that I could be in Canada this week. And so I'm pretty happy about that. But my biggest win happened just like this last hour with Gamma. I want to say that the fact that I could take my presentation that I already created and then create another website out of it, brilliant, just brilliant. I don't even have words for that because that's something that's already done. And if I can create a website out of it within seconds, that just is amazing to me. And then all I need to do is put links in, and then I can add different tabs and then there's a brand new website.
I love it.
Yeah, 100%.
Bruce, you're on mute.
Thank you. I'd like to add on to that. It not only the website capability. Now, when I think about websites, if it's going to be up for a long time, I want it to be permanent. I want to put it on a permanent platform. But I see these as great for quick put up and test and see if it's going to fly. And then the other thing I see as a way to do, instead of going to Figma to do mock-ups or something like that, I can now put up my prompt guide for what is the perfect homepage, run through all the prompts, and then zip that into Gamma just like I would for a presentation, but do it. And now I've got a full mock-up of a homepage. I can make it live for a little while and then take my time in building it out into high level or another platform like that. Yeah, I think this is definitely going to change the way I produce websites and landing pages. Now you're on mute, Darby. Back at you.
This is amateur hour. What are we doing here? Anyways, thanks for sharing, Bruce. Is that your main win of the week? Or do you want to segue into your win?
No, that's my main win at the moment.
All right. Good to see you, Shelly, another member of the Accelerator.
Oh, a second big win is just watching Chris make that voice bot. Yeah, I'm moving full steam ahead in trying to get that for some of my local clients. I am super excited about that. So Chris, that was beautiful. High level put some information out there, but the way you showed us how to build it, that was phenomenal. So yeah, I'm super excited about that as well.
Yeah, for reference, that was from day one of the summit. For you guys that want to go back and catch that, you probably need to watch it again to get some of the finesse that Chris had as a mic drop moment of the summit, I think.
That's actually my win from the week, is I've decided that I'm going to do a course teaching people how to build automatic lead systems with voice. I've got some people signed up and I'm going to be putting together the framework for that this weekend, and then I should have a product together by early next week that I can send out to people that are interested in that.
Yeah, and do you have a link for people to join a wait list for that right now? I know we got a few questions in the chat.
Profit
ProfitTalk.ai.
Talk. Yep.
Very nice. Very nice.
Jordan. See Jordan's here joining us. Steve. Good to see you. Shelly. Any win in your world, Steve? It's the day of the
One thing that I can report is we had that from the presentation that was done yesterday about doing all the reviews and using Outscraper. I quickly went and made a video on that, did just a sample use case. So I did a smaller version of what we discussed in that presentation, and it was awesome. So if anybody's looking at doing work with clients or just trying to get reviews from Google Maps, it worked great. I downloaded about 700 reviews for a local tree service just to use as an example, because I just took down a tree a couple of weeks ago at my house. And yeah, dozens and just tons of reviews, followed the script, a lightweight version of what we learned yesterday, and extracted tons of information about customer preferences. So it's a method that anybody can easily emulate. But the secret that I learned, I didn't know about the Outscraper product. So I'm currently using it to extract some reviews from Amazon Books. And it's not operating as clean, but I expect I'll get through it. And that's going to help me develop some products.
I see you're starting to put out some YouTube videos, Steve. I've been following you on YouTube.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'm on day 7.
Awesome.
Yep, I'm getting the whole workflow done for doing all the video editing too. So there's always a bunch of tiny little things that take way too much more time than you think. So I'm getting through those.
Actually, you know what? Just now we just did a little thing where Kelly was actually using Descript to take all her stuff and do it. And the way that she showed us, it was really super simple to actually do edits, which I had not been aware of the way that she did it. And so I thought maybe that might be something that you want to look at.
I'll check it out, because that's the product I use too. And I've got a workflow that's pretty solid. It all depends on whether you get a good initial transcript from your recording. So if there's any lag.
Well, that's what I mean. That what she was doing, she was actually editing the transcript and removing all the ums and things and whatnot. Yep. And then she was able to take the sections and tweak them if she wanted to. And then she went ahead and got the reels and things out of that.
That's about right.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a force multiplier. So if you are making any type of videos where you're doing screen shares or anything like that, Descript is a workhorse. And it's just getting better. I've been using it for probably at least 2 years at this point. And so it was clunky at the beginning, and it just seems like everything's starting to fall together. And I know, Tyrese, you and I are going to do an interview, and I want to use the new feature where they have I forget what they call it, but it's basically like a Zoom feature, but you can bring other people into the conversation. So you get multi-camera recording.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what I'm looking forward to testing out. You can build in templates where it automatically goes to the person who's talking and shows their image or their camera image in full, and it automatically switches between the speakers.
Oh, that's going to be super.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
And so if you want to do YouTube videos, you can set up a second camera at an angle so that you get the multiple views. So you're not just doing the straight talking head. And I think they've got a zoom in and out feature as well, too. One of the things I think they suggest, some of the YouTube experts suggest, is every 10 seconds or so, when it's a natural break, try and change the view just a little bit, even as a zoom in or zoom out or from a different angle. And that keeps a little bit of variety without having to jump to adding a bunch of B-roll and all that other stuff, because that's a whole nother level of a game you got to do. Yeah. I've also compared a Zoom transcript. Zoom will transcribe your meeting a recording, and then I compared it to Descript, and Descript was way better. So it got the words right. And one of the things I really like about Descript is you can identify, you bring in a recording and it'll ask you for the speakers, and so then you put the speaker names by it. But their underlord capabilities are the AI stuff, and Darby's talked about their studio sound. They just got some really great tools for that.
Another thing, even yesterday, Phil, in his session, he was showing a little bit of on Descript and how they have the AI voice changer in there. But then he did one that I haven't used before, which was like a refresh or something on a word. Changed Charlottesville to Austin, and then it
Oh,
updated it took 20 seconds, and then it replaced him saying Charlottesville to Austin, and it
awesome.
actually changed his mouth movement too.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
oh, okay, that's gonna be good because I've been stuck at okay, I don't want to change it, then my mouth is saying something else, but that's pretty cool.
That's interesting use case. I have an I made a reference to a name in one of my videos and I realized it was the incorrect name. So I just had to put a layer, like a text box layer that said, I meant this, but I was thinking about putting an AI voice in there and that would be the perfect way to fix that.
That's
I will
right.
test it.
Real quick before we get on any more tangents, I want to open the floor for Shelly. Any wins from this week or any big recent wins from your world that you want to share?
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
I think just being part of the summit has been a real win. I think it's gone very well. Good speakers, good content, and yeah, juggling between listening, learning, working, being ready. It's a win. It's all great, but it's a lot.
yeah, it is definitely gonna take some time to decompress after the 3 days here, and I obviously ingest the information. It's been a lot immersion, but then putting it into practice, I think, is what we've been referencing throughout the summit. Is even just one thing that you can take away and save you that time. If it is Descript as a tool, like how can that tool like save you that much time and make your content that much better? And how are you going to translate that into results for your business? Like, what can everybody walk away from? And then what can you walk back to once you've implemented it? And then learn from one of the other speakers. I think there's a lot to walk away from, but also it's not just about learning, it's also about the doing of everything.
Yeah, and usually these events have fair to middle and mediocre speakers. But I really have to say, I don't know how you did it, but it's really been quite good quality every session.
He knows the right people. That's for sure.
Or he is the right person and we all chose him.
That's right.
How you doing, Jordan?
Good. I was going to say, with the exception of that Jordan Hall guy, it's been good.
Oh, do you feel better today?
Yeah. How are you doing now?
A little bit better. Yeah, it comes in waves.
Oh gosh.
Too much stuff to do, though.
Any wins from your world, Jordan, that you want to share?
But yeah, I ran the first deal flow call on Tuesday, on election day of all days, and it went really well. We had 30 people, a lot of money was made, and I need to create an AI follow-up bot for everybody to follow through on the intros and do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was really incredible.
Can you explain a little bit about how the deal flow call works?
Yeah. So I have this spreadsheet that has everybody's names down one side, who they are, what their business is, and what the big ask is. And it's skewed towards creating long-term, like tapping into profit centers, creating not just cross promotions, which are good, but creating like integrations and bolt-ons and different ways that people can collaborate. And so we just go down and everybody has 3 to 4 minutes, and then it's like a grid pattern where everybody can say, hey, yeah, Chris, I can help you with that, or I know some intros for you, and they'll write it in the box. And so the spreadsheet just got filled out with all these connections and collaborations that are being made, and a lot of money and traction is happening. So we're going to be doing that every month. And yeah, it's really awesome to see. I would guess many 7 figures were made just from that call if we follow up over the months and years.
Wow, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Maybe a
Amazing.
little context for those, because we have some people that are tuning in just through the summit here that maybe didn't catch your found money session, or want a little more context about what you've been building.
Mhm.
And to introduce this, Jordan has been the guy behind the scenes of a lot of extremely profitable campaigns over the years, but was never really the face of anything himself. And then this year had made the decision to step out and start his own thing, which launched several weeks ago. I would say to great success for that being especially your first live event. But I'd love to just, if you want to share a little bit more about what you're building, the vision of what that growing into.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So we kicked it off with the event a few weeks ago called Profit Multipliers, and had Jay Abraham speak, which was awesome, and Darby and Chris, and a lot of really awesome folks, and covered just a treasure trove of different ways to find profits and identify hidden profit centers and businesses. And my main purpose of creating this whole thing is, so I'm going to be having, okay, I'll jump around just a little bit. I'm going to be having this inner circle event every year, a mastermind in between, but I'm creating a lot of courses and products and tools that help different kinds of businesses boost their bottom line. So the one that we talked about in that earlier session is going to be a piece of one of the courses. And my goal is to bring in a bunch of businesses and flip on the light bulb and show them how much money they have just sitting in their business. And then for the do-it-yourselfers, there'll be a bunch of courses that they can buy. Some of them will be mine. Some of them will be collaborative with people in the mastermind. And then when they come in, yeah, the do-it-yourselfers can follow the courses, but for a lot of them, I'm looking to just refer them to awesome people that can do anything from high ticket sales, copywriting, ad buying, AI implementation, setter bots, anything that's found money. They're going to be really interested in following up with a lot of those opportunities and implementing them in their business. And yeah, the mastermind that we had the deal flow call with is called the Rising Tide Collective. And it's a bunch of just rock star 7 and 8 figure, some 6-figure businesses that are integrating and creating cross-pollination opportunities between their businesses. And that's basically the sort of philosophical gist of the whole thing. Is I find that when a business operates in a vacuum and in isolation, there's so many ways that the wind can just knock them down. Like Zuckerberg gets testy about something and then your whole business is in trouble. Versus if you create this profit ecosystem and integrate with the up and downstream in your market, you can become really sustainable and scale a lot faster. And so that's like the philosophy behind it all. And so the mastermind's awesome because it's just a way to plug into tons of deal flow. And for all the new courses I'm creating, those are new businesses in all sorts of different markets that are looking to plug into the people that are in the mastermind. Those folks in the mastermind get to plug into all these promotion opportunities, monetization opportunities, new client lead flow, all sorts of stuff like that. So that's the overarching picture of it.
Very cool. It's exciting to see it come together after all this time and being like just seeing from a distance from the mastermind how every week it's built up and now how it's like really turning into real deal flow like you're describing. Very cool.
Yeah, and
On
just from your onboarding call, I guess you sent somebody to me that's become a client, so I appreciate that. Didn't
Yeah.
Right, even before the first meeting, I got a client.
That's awesome.
So
Glad to hear it.
slightly, not necessarily too much of a different note because we're all looking for ways to leverage AI for growing our businesses, but we just got through like a big milestone in terms of the election happening. It's the November. We're heading into the end of the year. This is the time of the year that we're all about strategic planning, looking at 2025. I'd love to hear from everyone here on the panel or the mastermind. What is something that you're looking forward to in 2025 in terms of what you're looking forward to from AI that was coming or you're anticipating is coming that you're looking to leverage, or maybe an initiative that you're going to be focusing big on, whether it's growing a YouTube channel, Steve, or something that you're looking to leverage and double down on. I'm curious, where are you guys looking in terms of opportunities for growth for your own business?
Can I jump in with a dystopian kickoff?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So basically, I think it's going to become really crazy over the next year or two, like 2 or 3 years, where so many things are going to become displaced. But I continually think that the opportunity for folks like us that are thinking about it is that the gap between what people know AI can do and what it can actually do, that gap is where the money is to be made. And I think that gap will shrink over time very quickly because AI itself will help us realize what it can do quicker. But as that gap, I think that's our opportunity. And then the robots come along and take over all the jobs and kill us. But until then, there's a lot of money to be made. And also on top of that, I've been thinking about the types of businesses that have a lot of sustainability and the types of assets. And I firmly believe, like Steve, what you're doing is smart because I think distribution is one of the assets that is going to be hard to displace, even though AI will be able to create influencers and stuff that are more compelling than we are. But still, people will be looking for the human component, and being able to create and wield distribution and audience will be one of the key assets. And on a complete side note, I have a buddy that has gotten into the restroom trailer business. So they're not like porta potties, they're like really high-end luxury trailer
I've got a
things.
friend that does that as well.
Yeah, it's such a cool business. And it made me think about businesses like that, where it doesn't matter if robots come along or whatever. Like people still need to use the bathroom and maybe they'll clean the bathroom more effectively or something. But that's just a great business if you corner that market. And my mind has been going towards businesses like that where you own an asset that just keeps printing money. And it doesn't matter if AI can write copy better, more quickly, people still just need to use the bathroom. And anyway, yeah,
Speaking
I'll
of,
kick it off with that.
I'm only kidding.
What's that?
I said, speaking of which, but I'm only kidding.
But yeah,
We're
so-
referring to his
Side
poor
hustle, take care of
poisonings
that.
episode.
I'll kick it off with that. That's my
All
my
right. Yeah, any
just a-
other takes?
Yeah,
Or
I am pretty excited about remaining the human side of AI. I really like 73 years old. I've worked my butt off to be who I am, to have the skills I have, the interpersonal skills, the communication skills. And so I have someone working on it. I am creating a community and circle. It is Boomers in Business with the tagline turning experience into revenue. And one of the things I realized, because as we're all guilty, is how much I've created. So I have programs that are winning presentations, winning sales, winning negotiations, and learning from Darby, being part of the community. What excites me is finally a place where I can actually cultivate, deepen, and put all of the programs into one platform, and then bring people together monthly, one-on-one, and be a force, be a network. A podcast is launching in January. The Circle group is being built now. And I'm looking in my computer at, oh my gosh, what I already have done. So it's like many of my colleagues have said, stop creating, just do something with it. So that's my big move.
I think something on that note, and maybe you saw this too, Jordan. I think Travis had posted something along the lines the other day is stop creating and start producing. What do you already have right here, or what has somebody else already created that just needs some production to it, and then getting that produced asset into distribution? And I think that's something that every single person that's ever been an entrepreneur can relate to, or ever been in business. So you have all these things that you can create an incredibly valuable skill in doing that, but there's so much that can be done with everything you've already got, that what's sitting right in your own backyard that is just collecting digital dust that just needs a little shoe shine on it, and it could be something that could change somebody else's life, or even your own business's trajectory with that.
There's also is this a site called repurpose.com. Do you know that one?
.io, repurpose.io.
.io. Yes, Bruce.
You could actually do this exercise with ChatGPT, like I mentioned the other day. If you have memory turned on, ask it what you've created. Like for me, in the last 2 years, I've created so many things that I haven't really done a whole lot with. And that's going to be my strategy for my YouTube channel. I have tons of automations and products and experiments and trainings that I've done, that I've prepared presentations for and built things for, but a lot of them I haven't tried to monetize. And I think that's perfect for YouTube content.
And I like the idea of turning a lot of these into mini courses, because the problem with courses generally is that, including me, I'm guilty of it, spending money, buying something, thinking that it looks great, and then never opening it again.
Yep.
It's awful. So that's part of what I also think would be really beneficial, is for us to pick 4 or 5 apps, own them, make them yours before we start. It's hard coming at us every day.
That's right. I'm in the same boat as Chris. I have all these things created, but I have not monetized the thing. It's do I, don't I, do I, don't I, don't I? And it's but the last step, it's just that last step, because it's like you don't know if you're actually creating something that's of value, though other people tell you that it's of value, because you think this is common sense. Why doesn't everybody know this? But they don't know this. And that's why I should monetize it.
For me, it's the marketing side. So like I'm good at creating the thing, but I'm not so great at marketing the thing. And I can do a pay-per-click ad and manage a campaign like that. But as far as like creating a funnel and an offer, I've always been the tech guy. So I'm not so much the marketing guy, and I need to get out of my head on that one.
Or hire someone.
Partner.
Yeah.
Co-create.
Yeah, that's what we do. We go back and forth because I can market everybody else but myself. It's what a weird conundrum to say that if someone says to me, "Oh, I have this business with that, this and that, and the other thing I'm doing," I can give them 5 million ideas, but as soon as it's my own idea, I can't come up with anything. It's a weird conundrum.
Yeah, I think a key piece of Travis's point that he was making is that when it comes to just shipping and putting things in distribution, I think a lot of us think that means that we need to create some crazy sales process and VSL and webinar and whatever and plug it in, which isn't true. That's not true. If you want to build out your own brand, then maybe there's more of that that's important at eventually. But there's so many people that have audience that they built up trust with that you can plug right into. And I think that's one of the key pieces of it is that you don't need to be a master marketer to plug something valuable into an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Well,
Just being
I'm gonna
one person, one voice that people will choose to listen to. Even if you're going back to the course idea, you have to like the person if you're going to hear their voice for an hour.
Right.
And so that's an investment in time as much as money. So Darby, I was going to answer your question in this way for me for 2025. So I'm thinking like Jordan that there is going to be a significant amount of transformation, both good and bad, but all disruptive, a lot of change. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know, in my opinion, if it's going to be as dystopian as he makes it, but I do agree that it's going to be a huge event and we're probably not used to the rate of change. So for next year, though, I've already started to see this trend and it's businesses struggling or really starting to get on a bandwagon to figure out how do we adopt and implement AI and all the things that go with that. I've had a lot of conversations with business leaders about how do I bring it into the workplace? What are all the cultural implementations? How do we address it from a leadership perspective? And then, so one thing that I'm doing is I'm having a lot of conversations so I can get brought into that. And the other part is I feel very strongly, so this is my platform, is that if you want to be effective as an individual and as a leader, you need to have this as a skill set, hands down. So that is a number one imperative for anybody who's looking for a job, looking to bounce to a job, leadership position of any type. You need to have an AI skill set. And if you're not there, the best way to start is to build a daily AI habit. And that's the whole thing behind my 30-day challenge. So I'm putting a little plug in there for it, but it's also something I realized after having the conversations and doing the challenge. People don't know where to start and they're trying to do too many things. They think it's about generating content, but content's only one of the little angles you can do with AI. There's a bunch of personal development and professional development routes that you can take to improve how you conduct yourself in real life. For example, plugging in your personality types of you, and then plugging in a personality type, if you know it, of somebody you're about to meet. I did this last week for a person I just met for the first time, but the person who introduced us gave me her personality type because she's a common friend. So she said, "Hey, this is her Myers-Briggs. So when you go meet with her, know that ahead of time." So I built a script and AI to help guide me so I could conduct a better meeting because I am a different personality type. So I would probably distract her and frustrate her because I have a bunch of big ideas and get off topic. So I went in with a script. Now imagine if you had that same type of script for a job interview, or you're going to go negotiate a raise, or any of those situations where you have to meet with leadership and you don't know how you should act or behave, or you feel like people are not listening to you. So if you've ever had that feeling where, like, do you ever get the idea that somebody's really not paying attention to what you're saying? And it may just because your personality type and your tendencies don't align with them. So getting back to this AI habit, if you start using AI on a daily basis and experiment by learning from others and just doing different things, you'll get out of that little narrow mindset of, I'm going to write a social post and I'm pissed off because it sounds like AI. Or I'm going to write an email and it always starts with, I hope this email finds you well. And you start learning all the different ways you can use AI. So I think for 2025, individuals need to jump on and they're going to start catching up, and companies, especially small to mid-sized companies, are going to start figuring out I need to do this because I can't hire the right people fast enough. And I need to figure out how I can leverage the people in my organization and skill them up so we can be competitive. So that's what I think we're going to see is a big lift to get people trained on how to use AI, because they're going to start figuring out, they being business owners and managers, that it's a lot cheaper to get everybody an enterprise account than it is to hire. And then you go start making selective hires that are super leveraged because you're going to bring on only people who understand AI, and you're going to get everybody else in the organization trained up. So that's where I'm thinking 2025 is. And everything I'm doing right now is aimed directly in that situation. And so I'm just building content and like we've been talking about, just honing the muscles to get content out there. And that way, when people say, hey, what are you up to? I just throw them to my YouTube channel, or I can send them to a post, and it's already having an impact. So
What is
that's
your
really-
YouTube channel?
Oh, yeah, I'll throw it in there.
And Steve, to add on to what you're talking about, you're teaching people to have an AI first mindset.
Yes, sir.
And like you say, it goes so far beyond just the basics of content generation. When you can get knowledge workers and leaders to start helping it with their shaping their thinking, to do critical thinking, to do strategic thinking, to do decision making, and all of those things can be built in, especially as the reasoning models get better and better. You can really do some great stuff. Yeah, I think your direction is spot on.
I played
I'd like
with
to go ahead.
I played with some of the personality profile stuff this morning. Actually, I'm communication styles mainly. I'm meeting with an attorney later today, and he just booked an appointment on my calendar, and I'm like, what does this guy want? I don't know. So I luckily he has a YouTube channel. I did build a demo for personal injury attorneys, but he's an entertainment attorney and he does some personal injury stuff. But so I pulled the transcript from his YouTube videos and I had it do an analysis on his communication style. And I built a pitch deck for personal injury attorneys on the voice stuff. I assume that's what he wants, but I don't know how he found out about me or what the context of the appointment is. So I have that ready to go. It could be, I know he's an AI guy, so he might just want to talk to me about another project, but I'm prepared for him and I know about him. So I feel like I'm not going in completely blind.
Yeah, and you
it-
didn't spend hours on that either. It was like seconds.
No, it was like a half an
Right?
hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important Shelley brought up the human side. This is not about changing who we are or being inauthentic. It's just about adjusting our communication style. And that's exactly what Steve and Chris are talking about here. Is not Steve's still going to be Steve, Chris is still going to be Chris, but really just being able to adjust your communication style to your audience. And that's just being a good human who knows how to communicate. It's not cheating. It's not becoming an AI robot or an AI avatar. It's just being a good human and upgrading your emotional intelligence is a good way of putting it.
Absolutely. And AI makes that a superpower because you have the ability to make quick interpretations ahead of time and prepare.
Even
Yeah.
Ashley Gross was talking about how she analyzes meetings or like potential prospects or current prospects with, she was using Read AI when I didn't realize that I did this, but it was analyzing sentiment analysis. It was analyzing body language. And she was going back and referring to those meetings and then using that information to curate how she was approaching and following up and addressing potential issues before they maybe even became issues. But really, it all stems back down to the human communication side of things. And I feel like there's that authenticity that people are still going to be craving, especially when you hop on a Zoom and there's 5 HeyGen Zoom avatars that are hopping on for people. I don't know what that's going to look like, but that's going to be messy, I feel like, for a lot of people trying to figure this stuff out. But I think that's also that gap that we're talking about between people like, oh, this is what it can do versus what it can't do. Like those that understand what's a shiny object and what's not. Like that time that someone spends distracted by, oh, this is a cool tool. Spend 4 weeks trying to play around with it. And then all of a sudden their competitions, yeah, that's child's play. Like we've already iterated and created 15 products and found a ton of money with this found money bot that we've been working inside of Jordan's mastermind on while you guys are playing around over here with your AI avatars on Zoom. Just one example, obviously being a little
Yeah, one,
silly, but
I wanted to share a conversation that happened yesterday, actually. These clients, they own a chimney cleaning and masonry company, and they've been my client for 6 years. And we have an ongoing problem with her main assistant, the main admin. And do we keep her? Do we not keep her? She's married to one of the leads in the company. And yet it's been a problem. And every time then there's the problem, do you keep her? But she knows so much. And then what does it take to hire, put it in Indeed, interview? So I actually said to her, would you consider a robot? Would you consider, if there was such a thing, because I can't do it for you, but if there was such a thing that you could train someone to get a lot of your tasks done, would you be open to it? So the first thing that was interesting for me, this network, I may not know it, but I actually can give an account to someone if she says yes. So understanding their challenge. And at this point, she has not been open to the idea of incorporating AI in anything, but yesterday she said, I got a yes. Part of it is that they don't know what they don't know. And part of it is me being human, being able to say, I said, Lindsay, I don't know that much about it either, but I can get you someone of high integrity that does. And that really, that's part of what we're doing here. And the other thing I wanted to say about content, without the right website and without the YouTubes and without the blogs, that's our social proof. That really gives us the ability to, just like you said, Chris, let me go learn what I can about this person. So it's like we have to get the back end of who we are and what we offer out there for people to find it.
What, in the beginning of the year, sorry, Bruce, beginning of the year when I was laid off and then I started looking for work, and I mentioned to you guys in the group that all the interviews that I was getting, they all wanted to hire me, but none of them would actually entertain any kind of AI. And I thought, I didn't go to dive into AI not to use AI. And that was a disappointment for me. And so when my counselor was like, you're going to so many interviews, but you're not landing any of them, what's wrong with you? And I said, there's nothing wrong with me. I just don't feel like I'm going to work for someone who's not going to be around next year. Because by next year, if you haven't even put your toe in just to see what the temperature is, you are the next Blockbuster, you are the next Kodak. And that's the way it's going to be. You just won't be around because everybody else will be miles and miles ahead and you'll never be able to catch up to your competition.
That's great. I think going forward, one thing I'm going to focus on is the idea of small communities and big communities. And Darby's been a real leader in building community, and that's how he's built his business, is just by networking and community. And when I say small community and big community, small community being like this group, our AI Profit Accelerator group, I get so many ideas. And this is the networking that Shelley was talking about. If I don't know someone, if can't do it, I know somebody who can, or somebody who can tell me who is. And then the other thing is, Tyrese, you mentioned sometimes I just need to bounce the idea off somebody else. I think I got it right. But it's so good just to have a conversation with someone else that is on the same level as you, but then can confirm or at least maybe make the slight little tweaks to help us get the right ideas. And I really believe that the big communities is the way that marketing is going to have to continue to go. Just somebody sees an ad and they go and buy something, that transactional view is just, it's going to become less and less viable, especially for the kinds of services that we're selling. It's really important to build both free communities, and then you can leverage that easily into paid communities and then other products and start adding all your found money to it. But it starts with a free community and goes from there. And the nice thing about, if we're worried about doing our marketing, you don't really have to do marketing. All you have to do is just be in your free community and put content in there. Tell people what you're doing, what you're working on. And if they resonate with you, they're going to follow you. And if they don't, they're going to leave, but that's okay. When they're in their free community, they're getting all that authority exposure from you. And then they're going to want to work with you when the time is right. And you don't have to do a lot of marketing. If we can think in this world of AI about small communities and big communities and how we can leverage AI to help us run those, that'll keep us human while still allowing us to leverage all the tools we got. So just some great food for thought there, hopefully.
In
Yeah,
addition to
I
that,
couldn't
Bruce,
appreciate.
the
Go ahead.
so in addition to that, the community, so one of the clients, she's an executive coach. We built her a community, and I said to her the other day, how's it going? She said, I have 151 people in the community. I said, that's great. At what price point? $37. I did the math, 5,500 and something dollars that she has coming in for not a lot of work. So when I tie it back into the way I teach businesses, you need to know how much money you need to bring in. Minimal. What do you need to pay your bills and live your life? So she had told me in her previous notes, she needed $4,000 to cover her bills. That's only one teeny little thing she's doing, is her community is bringing in more money. I'm not telling you that's a lot of money, but I don't think it's a little bit of money either, to bring in $5,000, no matter what else you're doing while you're trying to build.
Yeah, it's a great start for sure.
It's a great start. I told her, and I said to her, when you start thinking about everything else that you're selling and doing, I'd focus on community and put your offers in the community so you can upsell them.
Exactly.
And I
Well,
really do
also-
think that art of generative AI is going to morph into the general AI sphere faster than we actually think. I think it's going to be around the corner sooner
When
than
you say general AI,
2026.
are you saying like the
It's
AGI?
the yeah, I think it's called general AI now, isn't it?
AGI.
Yeah, AGI is artificial general intelligence. So I think that is going to come along sooner than we anticipate. Most people are saying, oh, about 2026, but I don't think it's going to take that long. With all the iterations that are coming forward, it just seems like it's coming faster and faster.
It's probably already here.
Yeah. Mm.
Anyone's like developing the alpha versions of these, like it's probably not telling everyone or actually giving it out. Like surely they're
Right.
using it with how much money these giant companies are pouring into this space.
Mm.
That's something I'm blanking on who I saw the conversation I come up with, but it might have been like Alex Becker or something posting about it. And I don't remember the whole context of the conversation, but AI is going to get so everything is AI. It's like almost not even a part of the conversation when you look at like the actual like proprietary tech that companies are building that is utilizing AI, but the value still is that the data that you can plug it in with. If you have a company that has a pixel on 1,000 websites and you have all these points of reference for what works for a specific niche, and then you use AI to give you even more insights and more utility from that data, you become that much more valuable. It's like there's a lot more than just, oh, I have an open AI integration that's plugged into doing this thing. It's like, where are you pulling that data and sourcing it from? And do you control anything proprietary on that front? I feel like you have something to say, Jordan.
Yeah, I do. I was going to say, do you want to brew on a quick, like that idea I brought up in the other thing? So basically, I did a manual version, like an analog version of this in all of my low ticket funnels, where we would create these tip of the day type of emails where people would click, and we would intentionally put different types of articles. Some would be fitness based or whatever, but some of them would have, it'd be an article on getting help and coaching to accelerate faster. And so the people that would read those and spend a lot of time on those articles, we would have a pretty good indication that they were looking for coaching. So they're like the perfect person to reach out to. When you take AI into account. So anyways, this came down to your data conversation. I was going to say, inside of the rising tide and outside of it, if we created a tool like that that helped people start to identify and segment the folks that are looking to go for a mastery approach to get coaching, have a lot of data. And anyway, it's also just directly useful. We could plug the setter bots right into those folks and then just start to send people automatically and find the hidden high ticket buyers that are just sitting in their audience. So that was the next found money tool that I was going to approach you and Chris about.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I think
All right.
I feel like the AI stuff on predicting and understanding where buying behavior is going to be going. Tools can already do that now, but if that tool is 2 years ago or today, it's $1,000 a month through some company that's charging an outrageous amount for this because they have their moat with it. Then all of a sudden in a year, OpenAI is just like, yeah, no, everyone can do this now. But you still need to have the clients and the data and the relationships to be able to plug those tools into, or else you're just going to be like, what do I do with this tech? Now you need to go get clients, or you need to go build relationships and broker these deals.
Yeah, that's the beautiful part of it too, is that we can install that in low ticket, high volume traffic flows and they don't even need to have their own high ticket to sell. We can be the network that creates the proper bolt-on to upsell. And I'm excited to dive into that one with you guys. That'll be powerful. Also, on a complete side note, since we don't have Robin with his insane list of awesome tools that he brings every single week, which
Well,
is
you missed
crazy.
the beginning.
Yeah,
Darby, tell him.
Oh,
He
Tell
sent me
him.
an,
I did
he
miss
sent
it.
me an
Okay.
80-page document with all
course
of his
he did.
tools.
That's amazing. So I'm just curious. I know Chris and I are talking about developing this, but does anybody know of an existing tool that can take a rambling 30 to 45 or hour long thing of me talking about one of the strategies and can break it down into a cohesive framework and worksheet and like, here's how to actually do this, turn it into like the structural steps to follow afterwards? Is there anything like that's really good?
I use Claude for that kind of thing. I actually just talk right straight into it, and then I get it to actually do the thing. But yeah, Notebook LM will do the same.
Okay. And it's like a sellable, like ready to go product afterwards.
Notebook
No,
LM.
no. It will give you the structure of what you want, and it will give you the ideas on how to present it. But if you're looking for a copy and paste into a document, that's what it will do. It'll break down your entire idea into the different areas logically. And then if you wanted to actually expand on that, it will help you expand on each individual section. And then you can copy and paste that into any kind of document
Like
that
a
you want.
gamma, and then put a password, and then just sell people the password for the individual gamma. And if you do it
Yeah.
on a presentation, you could just duplicate and like probably set up individual, passwords or something. But
Okay.
I feel
Yeah,
like
I'm
the
thinking.
workflow is something that could be done through various AI tools instead of using a packaged subscription tool, because they're using prompts on the back end, just like if you made your own pickaxe. So
Right.
combine your own, but some of the hacks to make it work for you is to take some of the things that you're talking about, do this, then do that, put that into structured data. So when you have a prompt, like part of the output could be format this in JSON. So now you got a JSON format, and then you can put some structure around it. There's probably some proofing, but if you just, I think if we take the presentation that we had yesterday, remember, I forget the gentleman's name, but he was the copywriter guy, and he
Francis,
walked us through getting all the reviews. That was like a 10-step workflow. And I think it's the same process where you take your rambling presentation, get a example document that's a framework of what you want to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And then between those steps, you're probably taking the entire transcript, breaking it down into chunkable things that are super structured. I've done similar things with product research, for example, like an interview, and you just say, hey, I interviewed these 10 people, and it was a product research interview. I got all the questions and all the answers. You can put that into structure. So in your case, then you put it into a document that contains a presentation framework. And then you're pretty darn close to a copy paste output. And then you could go into Gamma.
Yeah. And then just
or
throw it
and
in there.
even like more, even closer to home example is like Jordan, your found money bot. You're like, I have this idea, and I'm like, okay, let's interview you about it. And then I worked through that interview that you told me your idea inside of Claude, created the whole series of this is where we start, this is where we finish, and then created the prompts that would get that result. And then once we had those, then we used Replit to create the front end. And then Chris turned those prompts and such into the back end. And there were a few more steps there, but like that idea extraction to micro SaaS product kind of flow, I think that I probably took 4 hours of like really focused work time to get something like that to that point, like for that product. I don't know how much time you spent with that, Chris. We definitely spent time on it, no doubt, but
More than I wanted to.
Well,
But that was
Chris's brain
mainly
is 3 times the size of ours.
that was mainly
so
because I
it's
was
longer for the neurons to connect. Is that what you're saying?
I spent too much time on the front end dealing with that Replit agent thing, and it's not. I spent a lot of time arguing with it because it's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Who won the
It did. That's why you see a 2-step process instead of a 5-step process.
That's funny. Well, we got about 3 minutes here until I think some others will start joining. We've got Travis Rosser, who is one of the co-founders of Kajabi, CEO and founder now of a company called Tap Member. And who else is going to be joining us on that panel? Shelly and Tyrese will be joining us. Kelly should be joining us. She may not be there at the very beginning. And then Mike Joya from Pickaxe, we're going to be talking about a panel over knowledge entrepreneurship, what it means, and how we as entrepreneurs are leveraging our knowledge combined with AI to make a greater impact, not just in our own businesses, but also on society as a whole. So that'll be coming up here in just a few minutes. For those of you that are still live with us right now, make sure you stay tuned. It's sure to be a great conversation, as one would expect with folks of our caliber on this, of that caliber on the panel. And
Darby, I just want to praise you for this has not been just a typical AI summit with
Honestly, yeah.
a whole bunch of people coming and making their little teach and the pitch on the back end. This has been a much more meaningful and innovative approach to a summit. Hats off. You've taken the idea of an AI summit and taken it to the next level. And I hate to use generic terms like going to the next level and all that kind of stuff, but you really have upped the game when it comes to AI summits and making it really approachable, tangible, and actionable.
it's awesome. Well,
I
that was my
agree.
goal. That was my goal with this, and we're wrapping up.
too.
My goal for the next year is going into this was wanting this to be the first domino, exploring what does a sponsorship look like with a company that can help us make this thing free, so that we can put resources behind making it accessible to anybody, not gating these recordings behind some paywall after the fact, and just removing that barrier to entry. But this just being the first taste, it's going to be important to make sure that we're gathering reviews, testimonials, feedback from everybody that did attend. Shelly, thank you so much for sending that survey example. I do have a survey that we'll be sending out to everybody here after the summit finishes the live sessions, asking what you guys took away, who'd you guys get the most information out of in that front. But the goal right now is to at least for sure one next year, but I'm looking at probably two, one at the end of Q1 and then one at the kind of this time frame again at the end of the year, just to keep us on top with what's going on with the AI space. And this, obviously, people signed up to this event more specifically, not just because of our newsletter and our own reach, but as everyone else sharing the event, and by creating a valuable event with content that's useful and relevant. Hopefully this will be just the first stage of what we can do and make an even more exciting event for next year.
As you say, Darby. What do you say?
Keep calling AI on, and we'll transition now into the next segment.